This game is awesome. It's also the first game I ever played, and not only that, but now, it's the first game I'll ever review. A Journey to the Center of the Earth came out around the time I was born. I don't actually know when it was released, and neither does Google, but it had to be a year or two before I had the coordination and problem-solving skills needed to play it. Or maybe not, because most of my memories are of things like falling repeatedly to my death and getting hit in the face by vampire bats while I pondered over which item I might use to avoid them. Now, after years of training the gaming lobe of my brain, it's still pretty much just a lot of falling to my death. But I'm way better at the vampire bats, sometimes, which look a lot more like seagulls, but trust me, they can kick your ass. Make no mistake, it's a pretty tough game to beat. A lot of the difficulty comes from some pretty shoddy controls, but at the time on the old C64, this was pretty much par for the course. You use the same key to jump horizontally as you do to jump vertically, by tapping it lightly to leap straight up, or holding it down to hop over pits and obstacles. It takes a little getting used to, but it works well enough for a game from this era, and you'll rarely find yourself in a state of panic. You'll almost always have the time to stop and think out your moves before making them. That's really the focus of the gameplay, planning out your journey one decision at a time. There's not really a lot of action to come by. This is a game of exploration and problem solving, which is a flavor I'm a big fan of. Looking back on it now, it actually bears a bit of a resemblance to a game released a few years later, Metroid, with color-coded caverns to traverse and backtrack through as you gain all of the items and abilities you need to unlock new areas. Professor Lidenbrock doesn't really hold a flame to Samus, and Journey would be insurmountably more enjoyable if you could play through it in an intergalactic bounty hunter's leotard. But if you've ever paid a visit to the fortress planet Zebes, you'll probably feel right at home at the center of the Earth. Oh yeah, the character's name is Professor Lidenbrock. The game is actually based on the Jules Verne novel of the same name, but that doesn't really matter because the plot here is non-existent. You run around looking for treasure, bring it back to the surface for safekeeping, and try not to fall to your death as you descend deeper. That's pretty much all you need to know. All this nonsense about games needing complex plots came way the hell later. The furthest I ever managed to get in Journey as a kid was a big-ass turtle on amphetamines that charges at you and makes you dead. I had no friggin' clue how to get by him. You could call that a boss battle, but you really can't fight him so much as you just hope and try to avoid him. Sometimes I'd just head down to his room and perch myself on a safe ledge to watch him, with both awe and respect, and no intention of ever attempting to best him. I'm a little older now, a little wiser, and today I'm going to get past him so that I can gaze upon him for the first time from the right. Also, he is apparently a baby dragon. Well met, baby dragon turtle. Today was my day. Other than the vampire bats, which pretty much pop up at random, there are only two actual enemies in this game. Baby turtle dragon and some kind of troll. The troll at the center of the earth. I read that in the game's intro, so I have no idea what the troll is all about, and a part of me really doesn't even want to find him, because after all of this time, the mystery of what lies beneath is half of my love for the game. On the positive side, this game is full of awesome platforming action that was way ahead of its time, and a completely open, if a little small, world to explore in any way you choose. As for the negatives, the unfamiliar controls can bring about some frustrating deaths, and the graphics really haven't aged well. Even back then, this game was probably pretty ugly. In the end, this is a fun and addicting adventure well worth an attempt, but folks who aren't accustomed to pre-Nintendo gaming are going to struggle with it. If you consider yourself a retro gamer, you've got to play Journey to the Center of the Earth.